Higher. Yeah, I'm still retuning my vocal cords and tone of speech to something that's a little bit more appropriate to what I've decided is the course for me to go forward with. In other words, I have a mental health disorder, and within that mental health disorder, a lot of aspects of normality and sanity that I once knew, and I'm sure other people understand as life, don't apply, or they stopped applying, or they started getting too crazy, and for that reason I stopped using them as credible ways to live by. I won't go into too much detail, but in other words, that gives me a lot of flexibility in the moment to change how I approach life by just observing what I see and re-coordinating my what do they call them? What they have on aeroplanes, they fly along a set course, but it's like pre-mandated. And anyway, my course is forever changing, but it's something that is essential to me and my life because of my mental health. It allows me to function. And in doing so, I just have to really think about stuff every so often. And now's one of those times where I'm having to think about stuff because I've said to myself, right, this is the new direction. I'm not going to go into it now. There are previous live streams with that information on where I'm going, but either way I'm having to replot my course, and where I'm having to replot my course, I just have to make sure my mind is in the right place to handle the word turbulence sprung to mind, but ultimately I'm replotting my course for an easier time. So I'm hoping to avoid that turbulence from where I've come from, and head forward in something that's a little less bumpy and stomach churning. And that's the purpose of this live stream now, because I haven't made a video in anything that's been light-hearted for quite a while. And I've seen that as necessary where I'm going next, to try and instigate a level of a lighter, more appealing tone, if possible. I'm still fine-tuning it now, so this is like playing it out, seeing how things sound. But either way, it's no harm to make a video about something that's not depressing for once. And in that, the idea it was just like, I've been getting downloads all night, and the idea occurred to me loosely in the moment of I really have to balance it out when I get the downloads, because if I'm not careful, they really play on my ego, and they can put me in a place where I get, well, all the negatives of having an ego about really, really surreal spiritual ideas. It's not the wisest of moves if you've got a mental health disorder, with consultants and physicians that monitor you every few months. So I try and apply a certain level of logic and wisdom to what's going on, but don't deny myself my spirituality that I am for all intensive purposes. And long and short of it is, when it started to verge from spiritual download into the possibility of being psychosis, is that sort of point where it's like, right, this is what's going on a spiritual level. How does it apply to you? And if I can keep it factional, fact to my life, and know myself enough, then it's okay. But as soon as it starts to tip over that point into ego, it's time to switch off. And the way I switched off today was with a little bit of I don't know what you would call it, aggressive sarcasm to, well, I send it back, wherever it's coming from. I don't appreciate being bothered to the point where I'm entering into a place of ego. And for that reason, I'm more than happy to send back anything that's a message of fuck off, please. You're no longer welcome here. And it got to that point, and it was like, right, Andreas, you're doing this with spirituality, you're doing that with spirituality, you're doing that with spirituality, you're saving the world, you're doing this, you're doing that. And I turn around, this is like my imagination, it was like, I turned around to whatever force it was that was shoving this, my language, shoving it down my neck, because that's what it feels like. And I turned around and I said, yeah, where's my paycheck? I'm doing all of these things for spirituality. Where's my paycheck? It's just to make it real. It just brought it back to reality, to say, look, this is my life. I might be doing wondrous things on another level I have no idea about. But if I'm doing all of those things, shouldn't I be getting paid? Shouldn't I see correlation in my life? Shouldn't there be something where I can say, oh, okay, it's actually okay to have an ego about this because it's real, instead of just being in my head at the moment. And that led me on to, I was lying down because I've been trying to nurse my body into action today, and it's just taking so long. And I was lying there on the floor using my therapy device, staring at the sky, and they said, why don't you make a live stream about this? And I said, well, I've got nothing else to lose, there's nothing wrong with it. And the question is, are you being paid? Well, before I get into it any further, and I should have done this before, I don't know if it's too late, my brain isn't working. I was going to put some YouTube videos, you get like a warning at the beginning. Basically, if you're happy with your spiritual work in this world, please log off now. I don't want to ruin your setup there. But if you're not happy about your spiritual work in this world, continue to listen. And that is to say, we're all at work on a spiritual level one way or another. And it's to ask, in honesty, are you being paid enough for what you're doing in terms of spirituality? Because in terms of spirituality, you've got to apply non-attachment. And in non-attachment, you can't be attached to spirituality. You've got to be like, right, it's beginning to ruin my life now. I need to stop. You need that flexibility, you need that control, you need that ease, you need that payment for your time and energy. So when you're next doing your spiritual work in this world, ask yourself, why are you doing it? Are you attached to the idea of being spiritual? Idea of doing great service to the world, even though you're off in your own head like me most of the time? What's the reason? And putting a value of money, and I say money, but it's exchange. Where's my exchange for my energy? It just makes it very simplistic, keeps it very professional, keeps it very clean, and says, right, this is the way to manage this situation. And you can demand spirit honour your wishes. You're not doing anything wrong. Why should your wishes be ignored? Start demanding more, innit? Maybe if you, I don't want to say take pride, because pride is always considered a negative word, but my friend once said, yeah, it's a negative word, but for those that use it in the right way, I'm paraphrasing, it's the right thing to have. And for all intents and purposes, if we're at work on a spiritual level, it is really hidden from this world. You need to take some pride in yourself as a human being first, being alive on planet Earth, without that spirituality present to soothe your wounds. Because the mind needs to know 100% for its activity in terms of applied energy to soothe the body. Otherwise, we're forever going to be living a deficit to spirituality. So take some pride in yourself as a human being, as a soul incarnate on planet Earth first, and demand that pay rise. It's time to take spirituality to court. Have a nice day.